There are only seats for 8 at a fancy restaurant with 9 mom friends. She treated me like an outsider, as if it were the most natural thing. Surrounded by concerning glances, I reached my limit and decided to leave with a smile. I guess I'm not really one of the mom friends, so I'll be heading home. Little did the mom friends know, something surprising was about to happen to them. I'm Mary, 42 years old, a mother of 2 with a good relationship with my husband. I had a decent group of mom friends and was living a seemingly perfect life. Recently, a new neighbor moved in near my house. Her name is Emma, and she's 10 years younger than me. It seemed like her first time with child rearing, and she approached us wanting advice. But I was soon shocked by Emma's unbelievable actions. Hello, you're Mary, right? The first time we met, Emma approached me with an inquiring look. My mom friends and I stopped our conversation to look at her. The day was an open house for our kids, and there were people we don't usually see. Thinking Emma was one of them, I was surprised to learn she was actually a new neighbor who just moved in, and she lived near me. That big house, I had no idea. Sorry when I said that. Yeah, that's the one, Emma beamed and replied cheerily. I was surprised where her house was built. It wasn't a luxury neighborhood, but it was in an area with reasonably large plots of land, and her house stood out as being particularly large. We all wondered who could be living in such a house. To think it was such a young woman was a surprise. My husband is a bank executive. He recently got a promotion, and we bought that house, the big one, Emma boasted as I humored her happy tale. It started to feel suspicious. We have other properties too, like a vacation home in Aspen. It's such a nice place with great views and a comfortable environment. We always go there during long vacations. Oh, are you interested in traveling abroad? We travel a lot. Just recently we splurged and went to Europe. And so, Emma's stories went on and on. We felt an unpleasant premonition as we continued to respond to her with forced smiles. Emma's attitude became increasingly blatant. You know, the people around here, well, they don't seem to be very wealthy. I was worried I might not find anyone I could get along with, but then I saw Mary's house. It's the biggest in the area, right? I thought we might become friends, Emma said, smiling at me. Did she notice the sour expressions of the other mom friends? Faced with her intense personality, I found myself blurting out, is that really an appropriate thing to say? What do you mean? I'm just telling the truth, she retorted. Since that incident, she became somewhat ostracized by the group. I intended to keep my distance too, but for some reason, Emma started to resent me. Oh, are all of you mom friends out for lunch? I next met Emma while I was having lunch with my mom friends. At that time, I had no idea she held a grudge against me, so I invited her to join us. But Emma made a face of clear distaste. A lunch with mom friends? That means gossip and bad-mouthing, right? You're probably talking about me, so I'll pass. Her cold words took me by surprise, but the other mom friends seemed to know something. Emma left our home that day, and I decided to ask around. Then I heard that Emma was holding a grudge against me. Why? Did I do something? Well, remember the open house day? Since then, Emma has been telling people that Mary has been bad-mouthing her, something about Mary being cold to her back then. But I wasn't cold to her, was I? I became increasingly confused and troubled. Then another mom friend said, "Didn't she get upset when you said something about being friends? Don't you remember?" I tried hard to recall, then suddenly exclaimed. All eyes suddenly turned towards my voice, feeling uneasy under their gaze. Around the neighborhood, Emma was boasting so much that I had to express my concern. I said the words I chose. Was that really the way to say it? Maybe that offended her. Hearing this, the other moms began to say, "Emma's got a high pride, you know." I was worried about having unintentionally angered her. Wondering what to do as a neighbor, I wanted to maintain a smooth relationship, but if she's holding a grudge, that might not be possible. Other mom friends say that Emma has a high pride and often boasts about being wealthy. Her husband works at a bank and has a good salary, which is one of her favorite things to brag about. She always carries high-end brand items, and it seems she only eats at upscale restaurants and uses luxury ingredients. With such a stereotypical personality, one might think she would be easy to handle, but being resented by someone like Emma seemed like it was going to become a complicated issue. My apprehension was confirmed a few days later. I was meeting with the mom friends again at our usual cafe. That's when Emma appeared with a malicious grin and a noticeably different demeanor than before. "Looks like you're all gathered here again. I happen to have some time today, so I thought I'd join you," she said, looking around at us with a smile. We were speechless, exchanging glances. Then Emma proposed something unexpected. Why not leave this shabby place and go somewhere with better food? It turned out Emma was inviting us to her favorite upscale restaurant. We said we couldn't afford it, but Emma insisted she would cover everything. Reluctantly, we followed her to the new location. It was a historic restaurant in the area. "We rarely get to come to places like this," one of the mom friends remarked. Emma nodded with a broad smile. "Of course. With me, you can dine in places like this. I have VIP entry to all the fancy restaurants around," Emma boasted proudly. I realized her true motive in that moment. She must be trying to win over the other mom friends. The way she provocatively looked at me made it clear I wasn't going to be included in her group. Her targeting my friends indicated the grudge she held against me was real. We entered the restaurant at Emma's urging. A waiter came over to greet us. "Thank you for always coming," he said. Hearing this, the mom friends started to buzz. "She really does have VIP entry," Emma responded with a pleased look, then instructed the waiter, "We'll need a table for 8. Hearing her words, the mom friends and I exchanged glances. Aren't there 9 of us?" I asked. Emma turned to me with an exaggerated expression. "It seems like you weren't enjoying yourself, Mary, so I thought maybe you should head home." "Excuse me?" I replied. "But if you're not having fun, there's no point in staying, right? Bye then." I was stunned by her words. Ruminating over what she said, I realized she deliberately brought everyone to her territory just to exclude me. I always thought Mary was a bit clueless, kind of meddlesome. Like that time she commented on what I was saying as if it was any of her business, Emma said with a mocking laugh. Clearly, she resented me for calling her out. I was surprised she would go to such lengths, but there was no way I could consider being friends with her after this. As I stood there in disbelief, Emma grew even more audacious. "I might let you join us again if you promise never to be impertinent," she said. I declined her offer with a wry smile. I explained that I only spoke up because that's what I felt at the time, but Emma glared at me displeased. "How cheeky. I'm giving you a chance and you're still so annoying." Emma gestured dismissively with her hand as if to shoo me away. The other mom friend, sensing the awkward atmosphere, started to leave, but Emma wouldn't allow it. She pushed them into the restaurant with strong words. Wearing a malicious smile, "Looks like you'll be alone from tomorrow, Mary." "Well, this place isn't really for you anyway. It's a top-tier restaurant after all. Unlike pretenders, only wealthy people dine here." Hearing this, my irritation reached its limit. "It seems I'm not considered one of the mom friends, so I'll be going home." Feeling the gaze of the mom friends, I declared this with a smile. Emma looked triumphant. After giving Emma a brief glance, I continued, "But first, let me say goodbye properly." As I said this, Emma looked at me quizzically. I brushed off her gaze and asked the waiter to call the manager. The waiter, with a surprised look, fetched the manager, an elderly man who soon approached. I greeted him as usual. "Hello. Thank you for always being so accommodating." Turning to Emma, I added, "And thank you. How are your children doing?" Emma looked on in shock at this exchange. She quickly interrogated the waiter, demanding to know what was going on, and turned her gaze to me. Before I could answer, the manager spoke up to Emma. "There's no mystery here. Mary is the owner of this restaurant." At these words, Emma looked even more astonished. She glared at me defiantly. "Fine." I immediately smiled. "Emma, thank you for always patronizing our restaurant. As the owner, I'm proud you like it so much. I look forward to your continued support." My words left Emma dumbfounded. She probably never imagined her favorite restaurant was owned by me. She must think I have made her lose face, so I'm likely to be disliked by her even more now. But that's okay. Since I'm already resented, a little payback to embarrass Emma shouldn't be a problem. Thinking this, I continued to smile at Emma. Emma glared at me sharply, seemingly at a loss for words. As we faced off, the manager looked puzzled, not understanding the situation. Then he seemed to catch on and backed me up. Mary has been a great help to many restaurants, including this one. Though it's an old establishment, it once struggled with management. That's why Mary stepped in and revitalized it. We can't thank her enough. Emma's disbelief deepened at the manager's words. I thanked him. It's because this restaurant is wonderful, I added. The manager laughed heartily at this. Emma watched our exchange with frustration. I'll be leaving now. Oh, and these ladies are my mom friends, so please take care of them. Certainly, Mary. Please come back with your family. We'll make sure to give you our best service. Emma interrupted. How far will you go to humiliate me? Mary? The owner? That's impossible. I reaffirmed, it's true. But she seemed even more irate. This is just one of my favorite restaurants, but fine if this is me. Mars. Place? I'll never come back. There are plenty of other good restaurants, like that French restaurant on the corner. She pointed outside. The restaurant was upscale too, and I exclaimed, Huh, that's a restaurant of this manager's brother, so it's also under my management. Actually, most of the upscale restaurants around here are. You could say I'm a consultant in this field. Emma looked at me in astonishment. Didn't know they were brothers, she said. It's understandable that you didn't know. Emma's face twisted in frustration, and finally, she started to rant about being ridiculed. Surely you're just humoring me, manager. You'd better side with me now. My husband works in banking and deals with loans. If you side with this woman, you will never get a loan from the bank again. At Emma's words, the manager looked troubled. I probably had a similar expression as the mom friends tried to intervene. Emma continued to rant and insult me. Then a man in a suit appeared. Seeing him, the color drained from Emma's face. Well, what are you doing here? At Emma's words, the manager, mom friends, and I all turned to look at the man in the suit. He looked serious and was taken aback by the sudden attention. Emma quickly approached and grabbed his arm. Listen to me. That woman is making fun of me. I don't know if she's some consultant or whatever, but it sounds fishy, right? And that man next to her is in on it too. Don't lend them anything, no matter what they offer. Emma's husband, who was visibly shaken, looked at me and exclaimed in recognition. Long time no see. How's business been lately? Emma looked at her husband in shock upon hearing this. Then, her husband explained about me, similar to what the manager had just said. Emma's complexion grew worse as she listened. I briefly greeted him, explained the situation, and mentioned that things were getting a bit heated. Emma's husband's eyes widened in surprise. I'm sorry for any trouble Emma has caused. Emma, what on earth are you doing? Mary is one of our valued clients. Why would you lend money to someone as dubious as her? I appealed to her husband, who shook his head. Banking is about trust, he said. Don't cause any more trouble. What if you damage the bank's reputation? Besides, Mary is not dubious at all. Most businesses she's involved with are doing well. She even returns loans with interest within a few months. She's very skilled. Emma, apparently displeased by her husband's praise of me, approached me with a menacing look and raised her hand to slap me. I braced for impact, but her hand never came down. Her husband had stopped her. What are you trying to do? Because of Mary, I'm all alone. She embarrassed me, and now everyone's gossiping about me being naive. Are you okay with that? I was surprised by Emma's words. I hadn't realized my careless remark had escalated to this extent. I quickly apologized sincerely. I had no idea my careless words caused such trouble. I'm truly sorry. But Emma was not in a forgiving mood. She shook off her husband's hand and lunged at me, climbing on top of me and swinging her hands down. All I could do was protect myself, but the mom friends intervened, thankfully diffusing the situation. I didn't mean any harm. I only spoke up because you were calling people poor, I said. At my words, Emma's husband reacted strongly. What do you mean by that? He confronted Emma, bringing up a similar past incident that had made her uncomfortable. Apparently, Emma had moved to our area due to troubles with her previous mom friends. It seems her personality led to her isolation. After being told to go home and have a serious talk, Emma left with a bitter face. We, the remaining mom friends, disbanded for the day. Since then, Emma has become much quieter. It appears she received quite a lecture after returning home that day. Her habit of boasting and spending a significant amount of money on herself was notable. Her husband admonished her, saying, "You have children. It's time to grow up." Reflecting on this, Emma has since been working at a local supermarket, seemingly as a form of social learning. I occasionally visit the supermarket and have seen Emma working there from a distance. There seem to be some customer issues, but she's handling her job well. As for me, I was concerned about how our neighborhood relations would turn out, but everyone has been treating me as usual when I go out, like for garbage disposal. I greet Emma, but she quickly returns home without engaging in much conversation. However, I've heard that Emma has recently made some new mom friends. She's no longer isolated, which must be settling for her. I'm maintaining my own way of handling things while focusing on raising my kids,